Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Chad. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, randomness, out of the blueness, commentaries, rankings, news, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for a film called Shattered Glass, which, to be honest, I'd never heard of this film. I didn't know what it was about, but it stars Hayden Christensen, who actually isn't bad in the film, believe it or not. Peter Sarsgaard, good actor. Rosario Dawson's in the film. Hank Azaria has a small part. Steve Zahn. So it has a pretty decent cast. And yes, even Hayden Christensen, he's actually not that bad in this. It's based on a true story where there's this publication called The New Republic. And this took place in the late 90s. This is when computer internet was slowly becoming the thing. It was much more print journalism. And this guy, played by Hayden Christensen, he played the character Stephen Glass. And he's a guy that will use his charm to get others to help him. And he's an embellisher. He's kind of like a weird seducer, like to disarm people with his like fake trust. He'll write these articles, and like he'll mention them in media. He's like, I don't know, maybe it'd be bad. Maybe I should just not finish it. Or he'll apologize all the time, or he'll, hey, you know what? If I threw a Monopoly party, would you guys come? Like he'll say one thing to one person, but then he'll make himself out to be a victim to get sympathy with his co-workers. Like, he's that type of character. And he's trying to be very shy and very quiet and trying to be everybody's buddy and friend. So thus to disarm people emotionally or socially, to be, oh yeah, it's just this guy, don't worry about him. I mean, hey, he made a mistake, it's okay. I mean, it's this guy, it's Stephen Glass, it's him. So he is successful in getting these articles published. And his first editor of the place is Hank Azaria, who was a voice on The Simpsons for many years. Various voices on The Simpsons, among other stuff. And Hank Azaria is well liked, and he'll defend the writers in the room. But then one day, a publisher, Ted Kotcheff actually, the director of First Blood, and Uncommon Valor, and Weekend at Bernie's, Ted Kotcheff in an acting role. He's not in it much. I recognize the guy. One day leads to another, he fires Hank Azaria, and he gets one of the other writers, Peter Sarsgaard, which he's been in quite a bit of other films. I'm trying to remember what would people recognize him the most from. I'm not sure, but he's a good actor. And what was interesting about this movie, it went at a good pace, and it kept me interested to see what would happen next. Like, because the story is, again, something I'd never heard of. It's kind of not quite All the President's Men, which I love, but in that spirit of someone looking into disinformation, lying to the public. In this case, you kind of find out that Hayden Christensen would make up articles. Or he would get an article and he would make up facts. Like, oh yeah, I was there and I saw this and I saw that and this happened, to make the story more, quote, interesting. Oh, I was at this conference where they did drugs and felonies and hookers. I said, well, did that really happen, or did you make that up? Same with, oh yeah, there's this kid, this young kid, he had to do this company, and then the company hired him because they thought he was so good. They hired him as a security consult, and then he said, oh well, I want these comic books and X-Men #1. I want a lifetime subscription to Playboy. Man, this kid was really crazy. And then again, disarm people. I know it's really silly. I don't know if I'll finish it. And he says that a lot. And then when this article comes out, there's another place that deal more with computer journalism. And again, the fact this took place like 97, 98, that was a way different time period of today where people had computers, there was the internet, but it wasn't used as much for publications, newspapers. The print was more of the valued commodity compared to today. It's the opposite now. There is stuff in print, but there's a lot less people that look into that than they just go on their computer and find something online. And I will say, one of the few things I would, I guess you call it nitpick, I wish we centered more on the internet journalist played by Steve Zahn. Now, granted, I get why they didn't, and the fact that the story is more about within the inner turmoil of this group, the New Republic, this magazine corporation, and what's going on within them, where Peter Sarsgaard, who's now the new editor, he's finding more and more out that this Hayden Christensen might be a bit full of shit. And he's trying to believe him at first, but then the more things don't click, the more things seem a bit hazy, the more things seem more bullshit. Peter Sarsgaard is like, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right, this doesn't seem right. Did you really do this? And Hayden's like, what, you're supposed to defend me? What, why do you always hate me? Again, to do something else, to play the victim card in order to get out of it. But there's a part of me that wishes it's centered more on Steve Zahn's character. Number one, because I like Steve Zahn. Number two, I like the idea of an internet journalist going up against a print journalist and using the new tools of the time, the internet, to help further his investigation that some of the stuff might be made up. Because he listened to the story, because his publisher goes, his editor goes, how do you not find out about this story about this hacker? But this guy did. And Steve Zahn's like, what? And he listened to it, he's like, this is bullshit. I'm trying to find these people. There's nothing about them online. I'm trying to call these people. There's nothing there. And the girl working with Steve Zahn is Rosario Dawson from Clerks 2, and she was in Sin City, and she's been quite a few other stuff. I like Rosario Dawson as an actress. And oh wow, we got Steve Zahn, Rosario Dawson. I kind of wish I saw more of that team and more of them together. But yeah, I know it's based on true stories, so it's like, how much of it is true, how much of it is not, how much do you embellish, that all comes into play. But their stuff was interesting, like, Steve Zahn is not a dumb character that he's playing. Like, for example, he gets this phone number, and no matter how many times he calls, there's no answer, and he's like, well, wait a minute, I got an idea. Hey, Rosario, I forget her character's name. You call at the same time I call. Okay, I got a busy signal. Let's do it again. Wait, you got a busy signal now? Let me do it again. No, I got a busy signal. Wait a minute. This is a major software company, but they're only going to have one phone line? I thought, oh, okay, that was really smart. That was good work from... I mean, yeah, that does make sense. And I feel stupid for not coming up with the idea before, but stuff like that was, like I say, pulled me in, fascinated to where the story was leading. And again, it goes by a fast enough pace, it's never boring, and you have a good cast. And yes, I will say it one more time, Hayden Christensen is actually not that bad. He's not wooden, he's not talking about sand. He's actually pretty decent in the role. Maybe because, hey, they found a role to fit in. Because I do think he's a limited actor. But if you find those limits, you put him in there. He actually didn't do a bad job in this. But I will say I was more interested in Peter Sarsgaard, Steve Zahn, and other actors. Plus, maybe it helps that technically he is the villain in this, and not being a big Hayden Christensen fan. Him being this. It's where like they don't make him out like he is a villain, but he's not. But they don't. It's almost as if either he doesn't realize he's being so manipulative, or he. I don't want to say like an addict, but it's like he can't help but keep lying and bullshitting. And it's almost like, is he a sociopath? Is he just can't help himself? What the whole deal is. But I thought the investigation was interesting enough where, like, Peter Sarsgaard's like, okay, let's go to this place you described. Wait a minute. And then the editor breaking this down. You said there's 200 people here in this small room? Wait a minute, you said you went to dinner here, but they close at 3 p.m.? Wait, what's going on? I like this sort of breakdown of Hayden's story. Same with scenes before where Steve Zahn and them are talking over the phone. And again, that realization by Peter... Well, I thought Peter Sarsgaard did a fantastic job. I thought he did a really good job. Easily one of his better performances. And you felt bad for his character because he becomes a new editor. He was hired, but the other co-workers don't like him. They talk shit behind his back. Even Hayden Christensen, he'll act nice to him, but then he'll talk shit about him behind his back. Again, it shows how two-faced he is. Like, Hayden Christensen's character is an epitome of two-faced. Two-faced asshole. And even the others are fighting against him. And they go, well, he just made a mistake, and this and that. It's like, no, he had this fiction that we printed as fact. Because we found him entertaining. It's indefensible. Don't you know that? And this thing of reminiscent of today, where there's a lot of fake news out there. And there more than likely could be a lot of people like Stephen Glass, Hayden's character, that will just, yeah, I was there, blah, blah, and they make shit up, and how would you know? How would you know? How many times do people read something and take it at face value? And they don't do any research, they don't look into it, they don't fact check. If you lie about one thing, you lie about two things. And this is for the New Republic. This was a book that people on Air Force One read. Like the higher echelons of power read this publication. Thus, what they say could maybe lead people's decisions or opinions down a road that's not right, because the information at hand is completely false, fabricated or sensationalized or overindulgent. And this for me, it was an interesting story. It didn't get bogged down on pointless subplots. And that's another thing, it stuck with the story. It wasn't, okay, now we're going to a love story, and now we're going to the story about someone's kid, and now we're going to the story about someone's dad. No, it stuck with the story, and it didn't really deviate too much. And if it deviated, it was part of the main story. The investigation, and I will say the as it went on, the more interesting it got for me. Again, being a fan of films like All the President's Men with Dustin Hoffman, Robert Redford, this was an interesting film. It was well made, well acted. Spoiler alert. Spoilers. One thing I liked about the ending is the difference between the two, where Peter Sarsgaard goes to his his place, and the people are clapping because, like, hey, you know what? You're right. You did the right thing. This is the right thing to do. And finally, he's gotten the respect of his fellow writers. They didn't like him at first as he replaced Hank Azaria, where everybody liked, but he did the right thing. They respect him. And then you cut to Hayden Christensen in a classroom, and people are clapping, but you kind of find out that clap is for real. Real respect for doing the right thing. While Hayden, he's in this classroom, he's imagining people clapping. So, number one, that's as fake as the stories he made up. And this is a guy that's looking, searching, begging for accolades and respect. But nowadays, because of this event, I don't really know what happened to him afterward. They do show text. I think like he went to law school or something, which I don't know how the hell he got into that with being a lying sack of shit. Maybe I should be surprised as a lawyer. But nothing against lawyers. I don't even know if a lawyer ever watches this channel. If you do, let me know. I'd be very curious. But there's full of shit lawyers, but there's also full of shit doctors, there's full of shit actors, there's full of shitters in every fucking profession. So there's full of shitters at fast food, there's full of shitters who work the shitter. I mean, there's full of shitters everywhere. It's not just lawyers. But I was saying that difference between a guy thinking he's getting a claim, but it's all in his mind. He's a legend in his own mind. The respect that he won't garner, while Peter Sarsgaard gets true actual respect. Like that piece of direction I thought was interesting. I thought that was a nice way to end it, to show that difference between the two. Overall, ADM is much better than I thought it would be. Because, yeah, I didn't know much about it. Had a good cat. Like I said, I wish more of the movie... I wish it was in Steve Zahn and Rosario Dawson's point of view. It was this mystery, drama, them investigating this, and we see from their point of view what's going on from their story. Maybe that's what I would have preferred, but what they have, I still rather liked. So, well done movie. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.